Good morning. Today is January 7th, 2025, and this is the first meeting of the year of the City of Prescott Council Subcommittee on Water Issues. And I want to wish everyone here a happy and very productive 2025. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Rusing?
Here.
Member Gambogi?
Present.
And Member Fruworth is excused from the meeting today.
Okay, first item.
Item A is approval of the November 12th, 2024 Council Subcommittee on Water Issues meeting minutes.
Any corrections or changes? Mr. Gambogi?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor?
Passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Next item is WSA 24-052, a water service application submitted by Icon 5 Architects on behalf of owner Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Brian Reese, Water Resources, Water Resources Services and Environmental Services Manager for the city.
It's catching.
Yeah, starting off the new year with a bang. So glad to see everybody here. Happy New Year to everybody. So to start off today's meeting, we do have a water service application for review from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. This water service application is for the student union building, a new student union building that they are proposing to build on their campus. So in front of you on the screen, depicted by the red square, shows the general location of the proposed new building within the campus. At the university, which I believe you all know where the university is, off of Willow Creek Road, north of the city proper, or north of the city's downtown area. This shot right here kind of shows a depiction of the new building. The new building will actually be replacing 5 existing buildings within the area. Dibble Engineering did a demand analysis for this project. The demand analysis included or determined the differential between the water usage that would happen with the new building and the water that was being used by the older building. So it has that differential. And that differential came out to 9 acre-feet per year for the new student union building. Adding on approximately 1.6 acres of landscaping that's being proposed, and utilizing the 1.5 acre-feet per acre from ADWR based on their planting recommendations. That comes out to a total of 11.33 acre-feet per year for this project. By the way, Mr. Bradson is here from the university in order to answer any questions. We had a little conversation before the meeting and about the landscaping, and they're on track with the landscape architect understanding the ADWR planting list and utilizing that for their planning. So that's always good to hear. So with that, total on this application is 9 feet estimated usage for the new building, and adding in 1.55 acres of landscaping, 11.33 acre feet altogether. So with that, I put your recommended or possible actions that you could take to council for this. If you have any questions on the project, I'd be glad to try to answer, or we can bring Mr. Sin up and he could answer any questions also.
I have a question, Brian. What was any way we could have calculated how much the original buildings were using, or any way to separate them out from the general?
Yeah, it actually probably, I'm not sure if it was actually done in the demand analysis, but they did take them into account. So probably just some basic subtraction. I'm not sure if I could, I don't have the demand, well, I do have the demand analysis in front of me. Basically, it was a differential on square footage between the old buildings and the new buildings. And I don't have the exact number on the acre foot differential or I'd have to deduct or back calculate in order to get that original building, but it could be done based on the calculations supplied by the engineer.
Oh, I was just curious. So I see that the net building area change is an additional 36,778 square feet.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a wonderful asset to the campus, because I've been to all those older buildings. I believe they're left over from the 60s, 70s, from the old Prescott College days. So I think this is a wonderful idea to consolidate them.
Right. I would also add that it's a somewhat of an apples to oranges comparison. The buildings that we're going down, of course, even though we're building 48,000 square feet or would like to, the net change in it's not like that automatically adds we're not increasing by, it's not like building a new restaurant and that's going to be new demand. Because our old student union program is simply moving up to the new student union. And then the old student union will become office use. So I think this actually overstates the net change. The engineers did what the engineers could do, which is buildings going away, new building going up. But I think our overall water usage will actually be a little bit less on net. It won't be quite as much as is indicated by the 11.33.
A student union facility by no means would be a high water user. You're going to have a cafeteria in there,
Correct.
Bathrooms. Are you going to have showers too?
No, it's really it's food service and offices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it sounds like like I said, a wonderful project, and I think Embry-Riddle has been a fabulous asset to our community, and I'm glad to see that you're making an investment for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gambogi, any questions or comments?
I have none.
Any
That will be easy.
any comments from the public? Do we have any?
We do not.
Okay, well, do I hear a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to recommend forwarding WSA 24-052 to council for approval.
Second.
Passes 2-0.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you all.
Item C, presentation and discussion regarding the amended 2022 water management policy, current residential and non-residential water budget overview for July 1st, 2024 through December 19th, 2024.
Okay, so we did not have a meeting in December of last year. So this presentation will just bring you up to speed on where we ended off last year in terms of the water budgets and the existing contracts. And then we'll move in with the next agenda item and we'll talk about overall for 2024. So, but with this one, what we're going to do is we will recap the water that was used between July 1st, 2020, or the water that was allocated between July 1st, 2024 and December 19th, 2024, which is the kind of cutoff period for this presentation. So per the amended 2022 water policy, guidelines number 11 through 13, semi-annual water budgets are created for the residential and non-residential projects. For July 1st, 2024 through December 31st of 2024, the residential projects budget was set at 50 acre-feet for that period, and the non-residential water budget was set at 25 acre-feet. The table in front of you here shows the residential projects that were allocated in that time period. So as you can see, there was 5 total projects. 4 of them were administratively approved, being below the threshold needed per the water policy. And then there was 1 project that was recommended for approval through the WIS subcommittee and was approved through the vote through council.
Brian, which project was that?
That was the 82-unit multifamily project. I think it was called the McCafferty Apartments off of
Lafferty.
Lafferty.
Okay,
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank
Lafferty.
you. Lafferty
It was,
Apartments off of
And it has
69.
a potential to be workforce housing, I remember.
Correct. Yeah, there was
Kind
a
of across
discussion of
from
that.
Costco on the highway.
Yep. So the total of the 5 projects came out to 11.49 acre-feet. The budget was set at 50, and that left a remainder of 38.51 acre-feet within the budget at the end of that period. Kind of as a caveat to that, one of the projects that was moving forward in that period was the Embry-Riddle student residence buildings. Due to some slight delays in getting some information from Embry-Riddle, that actually bumped out of this period and will be voted on the January 14th meeting. But just for your information, that was about 34 acre-feet, which would have been an appeal, so it wouldn't have come out of the residential budget, but it was a residential project, just to give you an idea of kind of what the water flowing through that period we were looking at. So next we have the non-residential projects list. Again, we had 5 projects on this list between July and December. Let me see. So 3 of the projects were administratively approved, and we had 2 of those projects move through the Water Issues Subcommittee and onto council voting. The total water for the period for non-residential is 4.54 acre-feet. And with a residential budget of 25, a non-residential budget of 25, that left 20.46 acre-feet remaining in the budget.
And Brian, the
Yes.
restaurant in the mall, that was the Augie's
Yes.
project? Okay, thanks.
Correct. And then last, we have existing contracts list here in front of you. So per water policy, any existing contracts don't come through the Water Issues Subcommittee. So this is just more for informational purposes. But during the period, there was a total of 34 projects. And I'm sorry, this got a little bit hard to read here, but hopefully you could see it on in your agenda packet. But 34 projects totaling 16.38 acre-feet. There was 1 project in there that had kind of the bulk of the water. It was the Veterans 80-unit multi-family housing complex. So we went ahead and put that IGA into your packet so that you could get an idea of how that water was negotiated or was set in the IGA. That accounted for 10.73 acre-feet out of that total of 16.38 water in existing contracts for this period.
And Brian, while we're on the topic of the VA water IGA, I just wanted to thank our staff and the U.S. Vets and the county for working together to get this project for our homeless vets, to get them on the VA campus so they can get care and be in a safe place. Interestingly, the reason why we had to do an IGA is part of the VA campus is in the county and part is in the city limits. So it was a little tricky, and but we worked together, and under our new water policy, we can form IGAs with other government officials, governmental entities, whereas under the old water policy, we could form water districts with just any, agreement with just any private party. So this is an example of the water policy working well and to the benefit. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. And that pretty much summarizes the end of the year report for 2024. So if there's any questions.
Mr. Gambogi, any comments? None. Okay, thank you. All righty, any comments from the public or
We do not.
staff? Okay, all right, moving on. Next item.
D, presentation and discussion regarding overview of the 2024 yearly water budget.
Okay, yeah, so this will lead right into our last discussion, but we'll be talking about the water that was allocated for the entire year of 2024. Per water policy guidelines 11 through 14, as you know, the semi-annual water budgets are set. Just as a refresher, for the first biannual budget, they were set at 25 acre-feet for non-residential and 50 acre-feet for residential. And then in the second biannual budget, they were set at 25 acre-feet for both residential and non-residential. So with this presentation today, we took the data that we had available to us, and we tried to formulate it into graphs and charts that give you some understanding of kind of where the water went for 2024, what type of projects they went to, kind of broken down by sectors, municipal boundaries, appeals, and residential and non-residential. So with that, we have our first slide here, and this shows basically all of the water that was allocated in 2024. We calculated out a total acre-feet per year of 65.49 for the entire year, based on 98 total requests. So on this graph, you can see the residential breakdown for that water, is around 66% and non-residential at 34%. So this accounts for all water given out, whether it was in existing contracts or whether it was administratively approved or came through this water issues subcommittee.
And I'd just like to comment that residential includes multifamily.
Correct.
And it's not commercial. It's
Correct.
Okay, so that 66% includes several apartment complexes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I think I got a pie chart that might break that down coming up here.
And the rationale behind these multifamily apartment complexes are mainly to encourage infill and to bring our apartment, if we increase the stock available, hopefully we'll be bringing down the rental rates and make Prescott more affordable. It's not going to happen overnight because we can't depend, we can only hope to react to the market, whatever the rental market is, but we're working on getting more affordable housing and more people located closer into the heart of Prescott, so to decrease their driving times.
Makes sense. And we try to, for the purposes of determining how that, where that water's going, residential includes both single family and multifamily. It just helps in determining those values. So second graph here, again, shows the total water allocation for the year, but this time what we did is we broke it up into the three sectors of existing contract, residential water budget, and non-residential water budget. So again, 65.49 acre-feet is the total out of 98 requests. Of that, 21.53 or acre-feet per year, 33% was allocated out of the residential water budget. 16.65 at 25% allocated out of the non-residential water budget, and 27.31 acre feet, or 42% allocated out of the existing contracts.
Yeah. And a lot of these existing contracts go back 30, 40, 50 years.
They do. They do. A lot of them go back.
Our older subdivisions.
Correct. And there is some newer subdivisions where they've been platted, and during that plat process, they receive their water. So as they come in and single-family homes in those subdivisions are approved and permitted and given certificate of occupancy, they would be adding to that number too. Our next graph for you shows the residential water for this year. So we took out and broke out the residential separately so we could kind of see how that was being divvied up at this point in time. So total residential water for the period was 42.94 acre feet. And there was a total of 79 requests for residential. 73 of those were for single-family residential units, and there were 6 multifamily residential units in that. I do believe that out of those 6 manufactured units, 4 of them were simply duplexes, and 2 of them were actually multiple bigger multifamily units. So as shown, the breakdown is fairly even, 20.58 acre feet of water allocated to single-family residential comes out to about 48% of the water, and the multifamily 22.36 acre feet comes out to 52% of the water allocated. So a pretty even basis for this year on multifamily and single-family.
I think that's an interesting observation that the data shows that it's about equal between single-family and the multifamily. I think for some reason, Prescott has been painted as being elitist and just for rich people. And this chart shows that's not true, that we are working very hard to provide housing for workforce and people that maybe can't afford a single-family home, but hopefully they can find housing here in Prescott and participate in the community.
And then following up, there's the same type of chart for non-residential water. A bit arbitrary. I created these sectors as best as I could based on the information that I had on each project and trying to kind of bundle them together and how they made sense to me. So total acre feet for non-residential was 22.55. And the service sectors are shown here, breaking down into hotels, restaurants and bars, office and retail, I think is fairly obvious. Services, not so much so, but that honestly only included 2 projects in this year, which was a church and workout studio, a Pilates studio. So I just kind of grouped those together. Industrial, last year's graph that coincided to this one, we didn't really have any industrial to speak of. This year we did, so broke out an industrial segment so that you could see that there was water allocated to industrial this year.
Was this out at the air park? Out in the airport?
Yeah,
area?
I think I do believe that probably. I think all the projects were out at the air park.
Okay.
And I'll verify that for you though, and make sure. And if there was any outside the air park, I'll let you know. And then storage is another kind of a sector that had enough projects in it that it made sense to break it out into its own. So again, I don't probably have to read exactly all the percentages off of this chart for you, but this just gives you a general feel of how the water is being allocated. Restaurants for this year, and again, kind of it does move around from year to year, just based on the projects that come in. So I wouldn't read too much into it, but for this year, hotels and restaurants were kind of a big portion of the sector. And again, industrial came in this year. We had more projects in industrial than last year. And I think the rest of the projects were probably fairly steady from year to year.
Yeah, and then I see the hotel is on here. This is our City Hall project hotel?
No, that one would not be on here because that was
Last year?
I did not, honestly,
2020?
it's not on here because I did not. The water was allocated in a contract that wasn't included this year, so I did not put it on this year.
'Cause
I
it
will
says
try to remember to
hotel.
put
I
it
assume
on the
it's
one
the
where it
City
actually.
Hall. What hotel are we talking about?
Let me see if I can get the hotel.
3.6. Is it the one out at Gateway? There was one going in out there.
So the hotel itself, let me see if I have it on here. I should.
Is it the one connected to Aspire Sports?
I'm looking for it right now. I think I do believe it was that one. The Gateway, no. Yes, Gateway. No. Sorry. Maybe it didn't get included onto this
Because
this list. It was one hotel, and it's just
Okay.
escaping me right now. But I do believe it was at the mall.
Yes.
It was at the mall.
Yeah, because I just would like to reiterate that our mall is under new ownership, has a new name, and we're partnering with them in refurbishing it, putting it to good use, and having the hotel there was, I think, a good strategy to bring people in. And I believe it's connected to the Aspire Sports Complex to bring people in, I think, for pickleball tournaments and that kind of thing.
Yes, I do remember that they talked about the Aspire Sport Complex was a generator for a lot of what they expected the customers to be at the hotel, and it was at the mall. Yes.
Okay, and so the old City Hall hotel, where is that going to be counted? What part of the
Yeah.
budget?
Like I said, it was included in the contract, but the project hasn't moved forward at this point in time.
Okay.
I guess it would have, honestly, probably should have been in the water that was allocated in the year that it was that contract
Okay.
was signed and executed.
So we'll have to,
Yep.
okay, double check, make sure it's not left out. Okay, all right, thank you, Brian.
Sure.
Okay.
And then the next graph here just gives you a sense of kind of how water is moving out of the city by municipalities. As you all know, the city is a water service provider to areas outside of the city limits, including portions of Yavapai County and Chino Valley. So out of the total 65.49 acre feet, that was allocated for the year. Yavapai County had one request, one allocation, and Chino Valley had 5. You can see, let me grab my sheet. It's a little bit hard to read here, but Yavapai County totaled 10.73. All of that water was in the IGA for the veterans housing that we just discussed previously. And then Chino Valley, 5 single family or small requests that total altogether about 0.85 acre feet. The rest of the water for the year was all given out within the city limits.
I'd like to clarify, we do provide water to the Yavapai Prescott Indian Tribe. Shouldn't they have been included? We have a representative here, Mr. James.
So
Should they have been included in this because that's an entity that we provide water to?
Yes. So we have an existing settlement agreement that provides the water. So it would all be per existing contract. If they come in for a permit, then it will be added to the existing permitting column. I don't believe I saw any permits from the tribe in there for this year.
Oh, so this
but it
is
is a
just
very good point because it would be an
existing.
easy one for us to miss a little bit.
This is new water, new
Correct.
contracts, not existing.
Exactly.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify
Exactly.
that. Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. So, yeah. And then our last table here, is just again, from a year-to-year comparison standpoint, there's only so much we can discern from that data, but it does show us a little bit from year to year. So I try to compare between water allocated in 2023 and water allocated in 2024. You can see that total water was quite a bit less. We had less permit applications that required water coming in through this year than we did last year.
What percentage is that? I was trying to do my new math, and
it looks like probably around 40% to me. I don't have my calculator, but I'd say maybe around 40%.
Went from 161 to 65. It looked like it was over 100% decrease.
Or 40% of the water was allocated this year that was allocated last year is, I guess, what I would, how I would frame it. It was more last year, so the first column is the 2023, so we reduced. So, and then just down the various columns of water, existing contract, more water was quite a bit more water was allocated out of existing contracts last year than this year. Residential went down considerably. Non-residential held fairly steady, 29 to 22.5. Within the city limits and outside of the city limits, you can kind of see that comparison. We had more water outside the city limits allocated last year than this year, and then, or excuse me, outside city limits, we had more water allocated this year, and that's almost all contributed to the IGA for the veterans housing. Okay. Taking that out, those numbers are pretty close to each other. So anyway, again, mostly just for informational purposes at this point, but that kind of wraps up and gives you an idea of how the water was distributed last year.
Okay, well, these are very good numbers. It looks like we're allocating less new water this year than we were in 2023, but we also are keeping up with our existing contracts, which are about 50% of the water that we're allocating. And we do provide a lot of water outside the city limits. For example, Stringfield Ranch is coming online, and Mountain Club, Wildwood, Kingswood, what's the one past Kingswood out Iron Springs Road on the left, that subdivision out there. So it's
Idlewild or
pretty, so we do provide a lot of water outside our city limits.
Yep, we are a regional water supplier.
Okay, any comments, Mr. Gambogi?
I have none.
Okay, anyone else out there? Okay, thank you.
Next, item E, presentation and review regarding the calendar year 2024 Water Conservation Rebate Program.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. My name is Tracy Beasley. I am the new Water Resources Project Manager with the city, and I'm excited to share with you the overview of how our rebate program performed this year. I will have some summary slides towards the end if you're curious about those numbers, and just a little taste of some of the things that we are planning to go into and add to our offerings at the very end. Okay, so just for a quick summary, the options that we currently have within the city are rebates for toilets, urinals, washing machines, turf removal, rainwater barrels and cisterns, rain gardens, water scents, smart irrigation timers, hot water recirculating systems, which is a newer item for us, and people who are on septic who choose to utilize some of our rebates. Some of those will have an additional incentive credit that would go to their account as well. The first one are the toilets, extremely popular. And what I've done here just to help you along, I was curious, I've added a little bit of extra information. How many applications did we get versus how many unique customers? Because one customer might want 3 toilets replaced, for example. And then how many units in total for each category. So that's how I have them all laid out in our slides this year. So we had 100 applications with 88 customers requesting rebates for toilets and urinals, and 166 units had that rebate that went to our customers. So those customers, again, with septic systems in this case, received an extra $50. So you can see here we break it out based on the size of toilets. 1.28 single flush, which is the most common one, 160 rebates. 3 for the dual, 3 for the ultra low flush, and we had 2 urinal requests. So the estimates are primarily based on the gallons saved are primarily based on an estimate that was calculated when the program was put together, and that gives us over 1 million gallons saved in this 2024 year in 1 year in total. So 1,199,360 gallons. So toilets rebates are a huge investment for us in low cost as far as conservation goes. Washing machines are very popular. We had 53 applications, 53 units were part of the rebate program, over $10,000 rebated, and estimated 217,300 gallons water saved. Turf removal, smaller number of applicants, but large square footage leads to a definite measure in gallons saved. So we had 15 applications in 2024 with almost 1,500 square feet, 15,000 square feet replaced, and an estimated 1 year's savings in water is 408,540 gallons. So that is based on a $1 per square foot conversion from irrigated turf to water-saving landscaping. Rain barrels or cisterns, we had 11 applicants and 11 units. 11 applications, 10 applicants, 11 units. So one customer came back for us for a second round. And we ended up with 124,725 gallons of water saved there. So $3,465 in rebates just for our rain barrels. Unfortunately, this is year 2 with no rain gardens. So as I am coming into the city and really taking a deep dive into our rebates and applicants and opportunities, this is something that is on my radar to look into. Why don't we have applicants? What can we do to encourage? So it's definitely something, hopefully we'll have some applicants that show up for 2025.
Yeah, Mr.
Would you be so
Gambogi.
kind as to explain what a rain garden is?
Sure. Rain gardens essentially capture rain water, usually directed from buildings onto the ground. They will temporarily hold that water, and that water absorbs into the soil. So it's a way to prevent runoff if you're in an area where you don't have infrastructure and you have lots of rains in monsoon season. It's also a way to get that water back into the groundwater system. So some people in is my, I'm learning about desert style versus areas that have a lot more water. In desert areas, they can look a little bit more like dry landscaping with some plants, but they can also be fairly lush with really, really beautiful plants that are native to the area.
Thank you. Probably just needs a little more public education. I know at my house, I don't call it a rain garden, but I have swales where I direct the downspouts, the runoff from the roof, into my native vegetation, and it keeps it from running out into the street, and it helps keep the native vegetation alive.
And I think you've hit some of the nail head on. I think there are probably some projects out there that had aspects of rain gardens, and they didn't realize we had the rebates, or it was just built into perhaps, the turf removal project. So definitely we'll be looking into that. The WaterSense irrigation timers, we had 16 applicants and 16 units. And believe it or not, the gallons for only 16 is 121,600 gallons. So substantial with only 16. Hot water recirculation systems, again, this is fairly new. We had 22 applicants, which is pretty exciting. The gallons, based on the estimates that we're using currently, show up as 36,300. But I'm going to look into this because I put a little footnote there. When I look at this, what that really translates into, my understanding is that's saving us about 2.2 gallons per 2 people, which is about a minute per shower. And so I think that the savings might be a little bit higher than that. So that's something I'm going to look at this year, see if we can get a better read on that.
I have a recirc pump at my house, and it's wonderful. I save a lot of water by not running the shower or the sinks forever to get the hot water to the other side of the house.
As someone
it's in the garage,
as someone's on the far end of the house and has to wait a couple minutes for my water, I feel like, definitely the savings are going to be a little bit higher than that. So we'll update you in the coming year. So here's our summary. And actually, Brian, would you mind handing me the Post-it? I forgot to bring that up. Because all of these numbers are based on January 1 through December 19. And that was so that we would have time to actually put together the presentations and analyze the information that we have in the software. So as of December 19th, we had 217 applications with 285 rebates moving forward. I thought it was interesting to see how many were paper, how many were online, so I showed that to you. So it's actually pretty close to even. The amount rebated at that time was $49,920, with over 2 million gallons saved in 1 year alone. So that's 1 year's savings on water.
So Tracy, let me just interrupt you here. So amount rebated was almost $50,000, and we have $60,000 budgeted. Mm-hmm. So that's $10,000 kind of a margin to more or less
so we have
work
some
with.
Growing room, opportunity to really bring more people towards it. Yes, thank you. And I did take just a real quick glance at our information to see what our end of year summary was, going all the way through December 31st. And so that brought us up to $50,370 with 237 applications. So believe it or not, we had another 20 applications over the last several weeks of the year. So that was unexpected and exciting.
Yeah. So I would just like to ask you, working with the public, or the homeowners or the property owners, are they like very enthusiastic coming in, or what's the attitude out there with the public towards this program?
Well, I've had a small handful of conversations with people. I've only been here, since really active since the beginning of October. I have had some folks drop in. I've had a few phone calls. My interpretation is they're very excited about it because we want to do whatever we can to help individuals understand how they can get these rebates. And how they can make the most of the projects that they're looking into. If someone's interested in a toilet, I want to help them understand that if they get a high efficiency toilet, no, they don't have to worry about flushing it 6 times. And I have a link on our website now to help people, because a lot of our high efficiency things are not what they were 20 years ago. And I think that's information that I want to carry through this year. Even the old shower heads, high efficiency, drip, drip. I've got a great high efficiency one now. I love it. And so people come in enthusiastic and curious. I invite them to come in, and you'll see I'm going to be encouraging more of that in the summary of some of the things that we have coming up for the new year.
Okay, and then I'd just like to reiterate that I did a little quick math, and the 2,107 plus gallons, or I should say 2 million, translated to 6.5 acre feet
Thank you.
saved
Thank you.
annually. So I think our public needs to be congratulated, and our staff needs to be congratulated for participating in this program, because the drought continues.
Indeed, it does. Thank you. So here's the teaser slide for some of the things that I've brought forward to Brian, or he's brought to me, and it's just the beginning of what I hope to really help grow our programs. And this primarily is related to rebates. There are other things going on, but number one, I'll be creating a what we call a rack card size promotional item that will help me go into places where we don't normally take our 4-page rebate application, specifically appliance stores first, to build or regrow our relationships with store managers, to find pathways to help customers know when they're in the stores which items are going to be rebatable within the city of Prescott. So that will be coming in the next few months. We have a great tool with waterways right now, which is what we've been using for a number of years to process our rebate applications and capture the information related to those. Unfortunately, it's very challenging to pull that information out to really examine how effective we are and to be able to use that data. And it's the folks who are supporting that are fairly expensive. So we will be moving forward with a much more user-friendly program, which is part of the ARC GIS software, which means the costs are already built in for the city. Our ARC Survey 123 is a part of the ARC GIS system, and it's very user-friendly compared to what we have now.
Oh, great idea.
So we will, the intention is to have this online for the new fiscal year. So we'll be working on that over the coming months. I have put in a request for a spring marketing intern. Fingers crossed we have someone come online for about 3 months. That's going to be hugely exciting for new materials, making sure we get these social media posts out, getting out to the public a little bit more than we have in recent times. So fingers crossed. And then outdoor water use. Also, I went to a part of a training, which is currently free in most communities for irrigation, qualified water efficiency landscaper program. And it really inspires me to look into how we can turn towards reducing water with outside use. And step one is to develop a promotional piece to help our customers, particularly residents, but anyone, understand what are these questions to ask my landscaper to help discern, am I being as water efficient as I could be? It's kind of a complicated system, but if we can help them figure out what questions to ask, it's going to be a really nice starting point. So that's the icing. There's cake too. And you'll see, and I'm just, like I said, very excited to be here. So with that, if there are any questions, oh, I forgot. I pulled one image from the presentation. It's hard to get images out, but this shows you a rough breakdown, and that big blue band is our toilets. So just a little bit of information if you want to take a second to look at that one. So thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Very nice. Mr. Gambogi, any comments?
I have none. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Item F, presentation and discussion regarding the automated metering infrastructure project.
This is exciting.
Good morning, Steve Wolfers, Utilities Manager. I'm just going to do a quick introduction. We're continuing with our
Steve, can you?
I'm too close?
Yeah, bring
Closer.
that up.
There we go. Thank
A
you.
little closer, thank you.
We are about 9 months into this project. We started in March of 2023 with 2 vendors and making installations, and we're continuing towards that. We're in what we call Route 5?
Route 4.
Route 4. I always
4.
lose track. But we're in Route 4, and that is being very successful. As a matter of fact, we reached a milestone today, but we'll let Nathan speak on that. So Nathan Graham is our water production superintendent, and we'll be giving this presentation, as well as I think Tracy's got 1 or 2 slides in there as well. So we'll go ahead and let them get it going. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Steve. So, like you said, I'm Nathan Graham. I'm the Water Operations Superintendent for the City of Prescott. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about the automatic meter reading infrastructure project.
Nathan, let me just interrupt, just to let the public know the rationale behind all this. Originally, we're an older community we had a hodgepodge of all kinds of different brands of water meters. They were outdated, malfunctioning, expensive to repair, and this is a program to get everyone's meter uniform, the Badger, made in USA, smart meters. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's absolutely right. Yes, we did. We had quite the mixture of meters, made it a pain for operations, pain for billing, everything. So yes, this simplified a lot of things. So yeah, we'll give you I got to do the slide. There. So a little background on this. So yes, it was approved by council September 26, 2023, and that was to replace all water meters with Badgers water meters. We have pretty much approximately 25,800 meters, throughout the city. And so this project is to change them all out. So what we're doing is we're replacing the old drive-by as an Itron read system with new Badger Orion cellular endpoints. So the new Orion endpoints use cellular technology, bounce off the towers, to communicate with billing and our meter readers. Yes. Yep. Mr. Gambogi has the app. So, and then also with that, so yes, it is, with this project, it was to develop a front-facing application for customers, which Gambogi was just showing. It's a great app. It's called Ion Water. And so what it does, it allows you to, view your usage. And so that way you can, keep track of it and adjust it if needed. It's funny because it does set like goals. It'll tell you like, hey, good job. Your usage is down, for the month, stuff like that. So you can also set up alarms, which will, give you an alarm if you do have a leak. Currently, right now, we have about 427 customers set up on Ion Water. We're hoping that number starts growing here pretty soon. So we get into the funding side of it. So pretty much $12.5 million from our capital improvement funds. And then Steve went out and got got $3 million in a Water Infrastructure Finance Authority grant, WIFA, and that comes, so with a 25% match. Currently, we've expended approximately $3.5 million. What we've got reimbursed back from the grant is about 1.6. Is that right, Steve? So yeah, Steve did an awesome job getting that grant. So, let's go on to the next. So like what Steve was saying, currently we're in Route 4, which is kind of the Thumb Butte area, but we started off in, actually, I'll start in the beginning. So back March 15th, 2024 is when we did the kickoff, and we started in Chino Valley because that, driving out there, reading the meters took a lot of time. So this new cellular technology really helped us out. So, we finished up with Chino Valley, so now we're in Route 4. Route 4 pretty much has about 4,500 meters in it. And when we made this slide, we're about 50%, we're roughly about 60 to maybe even close to 70% complete with Route 4. So, yeah, once again, as we made this slide on December 12th, we had 4,739, but now we're up over 5,000 as we look today. So we are replacing at a rate.
So Nathan, just for clarification, Route 4 is out Iron Springs and the Thumb Butte area.
Yes.
In between there. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see there.
Yeah.
It's that blue area. So yeah, you got Thumb Butte, Iron Springs. So a lot of that wildwood, like we were talking about, earlier.
All right.
So
Well, that's a good idea because those are very old neighborhoods out there.
they are.
And they were private water improvement districts, and we took them over, I think, about 5 years ago after they made improvements and brought things up to standard. So I think that's great that we're replacing these meters.
Yeah, it was definitely our trouble area. So that's why we started there. So, potential challenges or issues. So, when we got into this project, our main concern was the procurement of meters and endpoints. But our vendor, Ferguson Waterworks, has been doing a great job.
Mr. Gambogi, do you have a comment? You're chuckling.
I have none.
Okay. So with the installation, yes, we're getting some pushback. I mean, from customers saying they don't want their meter changed out. Some of them are,
That's a good point. Let me ask you this. What if somebody just says, I want to hang on to my old meter, or I don't like the cellular aspect? I mean, do they have an option? Can we say, well, we'll give you a new meter, but it won't be a smart meter? Or is this program voluntary, or can we force them? I mean, what do we do?
So currently, yeah, we do not have an opt-out, program. So we do just put the meter in. It is, city's, property. And
City property.
yes.
Okay.
And a lot of times when they do call and they are concerned about the health effects, we have a lot of literature that we try to, give to them, showing that it's there really isn't any health effect issues. It's like pretty much sending a text message. Each time this thing sends a readout, and most of the time, I mean, the meter is actually pretty close, about 100 feet away from inside the home. So yeah, a couple text messages a day. So the health effects, there hasn't been any that they found. So.
Okay. Yeah. And it's not like it's ionizing radiation like an X-ray. It's non-ionizing radiation that probably produces a little heat, maybe.
Yeah. And when they're saying, when it sends that little packet of information, which is, about 4 times a day, they're talking milliseconds. So, I mean, it's fast. I mean, so, gone.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
So, and then, another potential issue was, cellular coverage. We haven't found too many. Right now, I think we're sitting around a number about 15 out of the 5,000 that are communicating a little bit slower, and that is kind of up in like that Wildwood area. Cell coverage is spotty up in those areas.
And improving our cellular coverage is in our strategic plan. So hopefully that'll get everybody on board.
Yes. Yeah. So another, potential challenge or issue is the increase in bills because, replacing the old, inefficient water meters with new efficient water meters. So,
But hopefully that'll alert people to leaks, and we can identify leaks and get them fixed a lot quicker.
yeah, absolutely. And now they have the app where they can see where they're using their water, and then they can, cut back and, help out with conservation as well. So just planning ahead. So like we were saying, we're in Route 4 right now. We're expected to, finish this up early 2025. I'm guessing here in the next couple months. And then we will be moving to Route 1, after that. So, and that was and we're kind of just going in the same progression as we did the last meter changeout program, which was, whatever, 17, 18 years ago. But we are actually working with utility billing too, getting some good reports to see where our troublesome areas are. And so that might change a little bit, It's kind of just a preliminary plan. So, but yeah, the preliminary plan is, Route 1 will be, next year, followed by Route 2, starting in 2026, and then ending with Route 5 and Route 3. Route 3 is our biggest route, but it's also our newest route. It's got a lot of the Granite Dells Estates, stuff like that. So
Yeah, so I could see where those meters aren't as in bad a shape as the older ones in the older neighborhoods.
yes, so that's where we'll wrap up the project up in that area.
And it looks like I'm in Route 5 last.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
like I said, it could change. Yeah, it really could change at any time. You never know. So, as far as public outreach goes, so, before we go into a route to start changing out meters, we send out letters, notifying them saying, hey, within the next, 60 days, should be receiving a new meter, and you'll know you're getting a new meter. You got your new meter when you get a blue door hanger on your door. As far as the letters, yeah, we're kind of hit some rough patches with that because a lot of that was me. I was doing the mail merge so it took me a little bit, so it got a little spotty there for a while, but I think we got it pretty well dialed in now. But as far as future opportunities, this is where Tracy.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you.
See, I hinted there would be more. I'm really excited to work with the water team to help the public understand how they can utilize this smart meter information related to their water usage and conservation. And so the intention and the plan is to build that into something that we're already going to do with the conservation. And I don't have the fun name for it quite yet, but the intention is to really help the public know that I am available to them, whether it is questions about landscape, rebates, whether it's, how can I do a water audit in my house? Whatever it is water conservation related, we're really going to up the publicity to help people know that I want to talk with them and answer their questions. So right now I'm calling this water conservation office hours. We're working on finding ways where I can meet with the public at their request, either in my office, perhaps out at the community center, 2 or 3 locations around the city to make it convenient, and finding specific times during the week where I'm available for that. The Eye on Water will be a part of that program, and that's why we put that on the slide here. How can we help them set up their app, set alerts, understand the reports, and then take that information to the next step? So that will be something that, we'll get the time set with the water team on when we really go full speed ahead on it. But the office hours will be set up before we get into February. So any of those folks who already have these meters, I'll be available to help them answer their questions. And then, of course, getting back involved with the library once we're ready, once we have enough users, I'll be working with the library and with the water team to offer several presentations per year so that people have another opportunity to learn more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, Mr. Gambogi? No. Okay, thank you.
Next item is general announcements from staff.
I do not have any general announcements for you today. We're just kicking off the year, and as you see, I think we have. Was it? Thank you. Oh, okay, no problem.
I have some general announcements. So let me take it away here. First of all, this Saturday, January 11th, from 10 to 12, CWAG, Citizens Water Advocacy Group, is going to have an annual meeting. Everyone's invited. They're going to be setting goals for the year. And they meet at the Granite Mountain Unitarian Unity Church. It's behind True Value. So go to their website, cwagaz.org. So it's cwagaz.org. They have a beautiful website, very informative. You can get lots of information off of it. And I just invite everyone to attend this meeting. Also, protecting our watershed is very important, and especially, as you know, we're in a bowl, we're in a basin, and the Bradshaws are very important. Their snowpack, the stormwater runoff is very important to recharging the Little Chino aquifer. And I would just like to announce that there's going to be a letter writing workshop tomorrow at between 5:30 and 6:30 at the National History Museum on Marina. And it's a letter writing workshop so that we can write our federal officials to protect the Hassayampa River headwaters from open pit strip mining. So please feel free to attend that and participate in protecting our, especially like Goldwater Lake would be affected with toxic materials running off from any mining operations in this area. It's to withdraw almost 4,000 acres of U.S. Forest Service property from strip mining. It won't affect the use on surfaces, and this area is only 4 miles south of Prescott. So it would be definitely in our view shed and in our watershed. So I'd also like to remind everyone out there that, as you've noticed, we're having a very dry, warm winter, and we need to be aware of that as far as the fire danger, but also we need to continue conserving our water. And it's something that NOAA has predicted, and it looks like they're correct on this. So hopefully we'll get some moisture, but I just wanted to say our 30-year drought is continuing. So please respect our water. It's a very precious, finite resource. Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Gambogi, were you?
I move to close the meeting.
Okay, second.